The food you eat can be the safest and most powerful form of medicine, or it can be the slowest form of poison. Unfortunately, over the last century, our diets have undergone a radical transformation from natural foods to chemical compounds put together and made to look like foods. Surely a slow form of poison for us all. And we've moved from ancient processing traditions like fermenting, curing and salting to the new ultra-processed food techniques of today, like emulsification, fractioning, artificial flavouring and sweeteners. And all this has come with a huge price on our health, one that works insidiously, taking its toll day by day, working hidden, impacting our biology until it's too late and the damage is done. And the impact of these ultra-processed foods is clear. Our diet has been inundated with them, and you can see this in the huge rise of obesity we've seen over the last 40 years. From childhood obesity rates of just 2% in the 70s up to a staggering 20% now and rising. It's clear that ultra-processed foods are wreaking havoc on our biology and causing a huge negative impact. What exactly are ultra-processed foods then? Well, these aren't just your normal kinds of processed foods. These are the ones wrapped in plastics, laden with additives, and with an ingredients list that reads like a chemistry textbook that's just simply unnatural. And studies have linked these ultra-processed foods to a huge number of health issues. Things like cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, mood disorders. They even have been linked to a risk of early death. It's not just about obesity, it's about the continuous toll that they take on the internal biochemistry of our body, day by day causing negative effects that add up over time, increasing our risks for these chronic diseases. And even on the short term, we've got things like heartburn, poor sleep, weight gain, anxiety. The impact of these foods can be terrible, yet they continue to fill our shelves at the supermarkets, causing a public health crisis of huge proportion. And they even hijack our neural signaling to drive us to overconsume them. This is because our brain is wired to predict the kind of nutrients that we've eaten based on the signals that we get from our taste buds. If we've eaten something sweet, our body prepares to deal with those nutrients. However, with ultra-processed foods, these signals often create a mismatch, which drives overconsumption. In essence, the artificial sweeteners, flavour enhancers and other refined ingredients are hijacking our taste buds, sending false signals to our brain that drive the cycle of overconsumption and addiction. And it's so unfortunate because we get trapped within this cycle of overconsumption, perpetuating poor health and our reliance on these damaging food type products. And these foods are actually engineered to be addictive, using flavours and additives to create the perfect combination to create this bliss mechanism within our brains, the ideal ratio of fats, sugars and salts designed to satisfy these pleasure pathways, further driving our addiction to them and overconsumption. And it just underlies their insidious nature, damaging us at the core through tricking our bodies into consuming them more and more. Now, the food industry often blames obesity on lack of movement or of willpower, but the evidence tells a different story. As we can see, obesity rates skyrocketed as the popularity of these ultra-processed foods grew and grew, really just suggesting the strong link between these ultra-processed foods and the soaring rates of obesity we can see in our modern life. And one big one that you want to look out for are the seed oils. These are things like sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, canola oil, soybean oil, as these are particularly common in ultra-processed foods and are really destructive to our health. Now, whilst we might need a small amount of these omega-6 oils that we find in these seed oils, we don't need the huge amounts that we're exposed to nowadays, as these don't get metabolized quickly like sugar either. They get incorporated into our cellular membranes, where they contribute towards disruptions in our metabolism, increasing our risk for chronic disease and obesity. And they can take up to 6 years to clear out of our body completely once we've altered our diet, just showing you how long they stay in our bodies for. And from inflammatory disorders to metabolic dysfunction, the short-term impact of these seed oils on our health is staggering, and yet they continue to be added in abundance to our food supply. It seems just every week I'm finding another food that used to contain olive oil, now having that replaced for rapeseed oil, seeming nothing else aside from the cost, yet the detriment to our health is huge. So now, whilst those ultra-processed foods might be convenient now, I can tell you in the long term, the damage to our health will be anything from convenient. Choosing a whole foods-based diet is the best option. Choosing foods that don't have an ingredients list because they're simply a single ingredient. But at second best, avoiding those with lengthy ingredients lists full of chemical sounding names, avoiding the additives, the emulsifiers, the refined sugars in all their varieties, and those seed oils. And if this video was useful for you, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe below. We release daily videos about health and well-being optimization.